Hi everyone, this is Selena Kraus and welcome to another card video. Actually, in this video we're going to make several cards, pretty much the same design, using the new My Monthly Hero kit for January 2021 from Hero Arts. After this video, I'll have another one. I had to split my videos into two using coloring techniques for the cards. So here's a quick look at the kit. We have 6x8 stamp set, coordinating dies, a little fancy hexagon dies like honeycomb, and these pretty papers. The kit will include two of each. So here's a card I had yesterday on my blog for the countdown for the sneak peeks. I made a slimline card. And now let's move on to the add-ons. First we have the geometric bees. Then we have abstract honeycomb, bees and flowers bold prints. Then we have Be the Queen set and coordinating dies. We have the hexagon infinity dies. I'm just in love with those. We have bees and flowers fancy dies. Peekaboo honeycomb fancy die. The honeypot fancy dies. The bee and flowers reed set and coordinating dies. And last but not the least is the floral love set and dies. So now we can move on to the cards. I've pre-cut already different colors of cardstock. This is Hero Arts cardstock. I've picked like 10-12 colors and cut panels down to 4¼ by 5½. Also pulled out my embossing and watermark ink along with the detailed white embossing powder. So what we're going to do, I'm using my MISTI tool and I will set the stamps, and this is also very nice for one layer cards, but I decided to do colored panels and then adhere to white note card. So you can go either way. Here I'm positioning that large floral stamp, a sentiment, and then I will add one more bee. Just trying to pull it a little bit to the side because after we're done, we're gonna trim off about 1/4 of an inch from the side. So I'm leaving a little bit space so I don't cut too much from the floral on the left side. So I think that looks good. I just picked it up with the door of my MISTI, and now we can move on to mass producing. This took me about an hour to create about 15 cards. So this is a sped up video, and I also trimmed some parts of the video so you're not bored from me stamping 15 times the same image and embossing it the same number of times. I'm stamping a couple times with the embossing and watermark ink. And also one big kind of helper here, it's the anti-static powder tool. So it helps the white powder to stay only in the stamped areas and not stay around it, and then giving us white spots on our cardstock. So I've applied embossing powder there. I'm just shaking off the excess, warming up my heat tool, and then melting that embossing powder. So this is the Peony cardstock from Hero Arts. And then on the edge there, on the corner, you see the Azalea. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I really like how this one looks embossed with white. So then I have cherry, I use canary mustard, papaya, I use pebble, the Nautical, Periwinkle, Lapis, and Plum. So I'm heating it up here to melt that embossing powder. So I think that looks pretty good. Next I'll move to the next panel. This is the cherry cardstock. I added that anti-static powder and now I'm stamping the image. You can see the little watermark image. And I'm applying again the embossing powder. And I will continue to do this for all the panels I've cut. So I think that looks good. So now I have two more panels. After I emboss all those in white, I decided to use Nautical and Peach Black and then stamp with the embossing ink and emboss with sparkle gold embossing powder. So I thought that the navy and the gold and the black and gold look nice. So I decided to do a couple of those cards, and then I'll adhere those on to gold cardstock card bases. Just melting that embossing powder. You can see the glitter there from the embossing powder. I just cleaned it up with a Swiffer cloth, and now we'll do the same with the black cardstock panel. I stamped that a couple times and now I'm adding that embossing powder. You can see all the sparkle here. I'm just melting that. Okay, we have all of those done. I'm just cleaning off the glitter with my sleeve, if you couldn't notice. So now I'm going with similar ink, a little bit darker than my panels. For this one I'm using Cotton Candy Shadow Ink. I'm just adding a little bit of, with a sponge dabber, a little bit of ink on the flowers to give a little bit more interest and a little bit more variation of color. The few panels that I left as is, I didn't add any ink or any shadows. So you can see here how those flowers pop up. Also in the pictures they have on my blog, the pink and the yellow didn't come out very well on the photos. Here you can see more that this color is more subtle than in those photos. Also the canary yellow came out very pale on the photos. So next I'll do the cherry and the azalea. I'm using the raspberry gem or the red royal ink pad. I didn't end up using these two panels for my cards. I saved them for a later project. I'm using the same one for the azalea cardstock. I'm continuing to do it the same thing using similar colors, a little bit darker than the cardstock. So here we have the mustard, the lavender, and actually this is the amethyst, not the lavender. Cardstock, I'm adding some grape juice, and this came out very dark, so I didn't use that panel for my cards. I set it aside at the end. So now I'm using soft apricot and butter bar for the canary and the mustard. So this is very pale yellow, the canary cardstock, so you can barely also see the white, and that's like darker yellow makes that white embossing to pop up a little bit more. So now I'm adding the soft apricot on the mustard cardstock panel. And here you don't need to use sponge dabbers. You can use a small blending brush or any other blending tool you have at home. So we have those here. I'll set those aside. Next I'm using the Pool ink colors to shadow ink to do some ink blending on the Lapis panel. And I really like this. I think this one was one of my favorite when I was done. Next is the Periwinkle, and I'm using the cornflower ink pad for this one. Next we have also Mist and Paradise that are kind of blue-green shades. We have the navy, not the navy but the Nautical, and Papaya left also. So for this one, for the Paradise, I'm using the Tide Pool Shadow ink. Here I forgot to add on one of the flowers. Next I'm using Soft Sky for the MISTI cardstock panel. Just adding on the only on the flowers. And it doesn't need to be perfect, so here it's a little brief look. Here I'm adding more with the Red Royale on that cherry panel. I'm going back with the Cotton Candy on to add a little bit darker spots on the Peony cardstock panel. Now we have left the Papaya, and I'll be using the Orange Soda shadow ink to add in the center of the flowers. So next we have the Adriatic and Navy, and I'm using Aquatic bold ink for the Adriatic panel, and then I'll use the Navy for the Nautical one. And then we have we'll have the ones that are embossing with sparkle gold. I'll leave those as is. I decided to not add any ink to the flowers to make them to shade them. So here's all the panels. You'll notice there the Plum was left uninked, and also the Pebble, and the two that are embossed with sparkle gold. So I've already cut the panels down to 4 and 5 1/4, and it's time to assemble them. I'm just pulling out the ones that I wanted to put into cards right now, and I'm setting aside the ones that I'm saving for later. That's only a couple of them, like the red, the cherry, the azalea, and the amethyst. I have a pack of Hues top folding note cards, top folded note cards, and also I have pre-made gold note cards, and I have stack of craft foam on the left sides here that I've cut to fit on the back of the panels. So I'll do this, I'll adhere those on every single panel. So by magic of YouTube, they're already done, and next we'll just adhere them to our note cards. Just using the Hues Precision Glue. It's very nice strong glue, and it's perfect for adhering craft foam too. So this is my second one. So by magic of YouTube, they're already done. You can see the stack of cards. So next I'm just pulling out some enamel dots, and also decided to use some rhinestones, some gems, white gems, to add a little bit more interest to our cards. There are some cards I'll use the enamel dots, and some I'll use the gems. So I'm adding 3 on the top right, 2 on the bottom left, and 1 on the top left. So I'll repeat this for all of the cards. Also, I'll do the same positioning on the panels, on the cards that I use the gems. So here are the gems. I'm using it for the yellow. So I added the little drops of adhesive onto my cards, and I'm just dropping the rhinestones the little gems right into the little dots of adhesive. And I'm repeating the same process for all of the cards that I added the gems to. Okay, so by magic of YouTube, again, I have all of them done. And what I'm doing next, I decided the cards needed a little bit more sparkle, so I'm using a sparkle pen to add a little sparkle on the flowers. Also, I decided to add some on the wings of the bee. So this goes very quickly because I'm not really paying attention to be very precise, because the embossed lines help that sparkle liquid stay within the lines of the flowers. So you can see here also the sparkle pen causes that part of the cardstock to be a little bit darker, so it adds additional shading or additional darker effect to the flowers. So I have them all done, and let's take a closer look. So here you can see the sparkle, especially on the navy one, the Nautical one. That's the papaya, the plum. I did not add any ink on the center of the flowers. We have canary, paradise, mustard, Nautical with gold, and the peach black with gold. We have the periwinkle here, peony, pebble with no inking, and we have the lapis. So here I realized that there are several bees that I did not add sparkle on their wings. So what I'm doing is just adding quickly on the wings of the bees. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, please visit my blog for more ideas and more inspiration. Thanks for watching, and see you soon in another card video. Bye!